Hello everyone, and once again welcome to my channel Engineering Made Simple. Now in today's lecture we are going to learn about the rules of block diagram reduction. Now why do we need to learn the rules of block diagram reduction? We have studied in earlier lectures what do you mean by or why do we represent a given control system using block diagram representation. Also we derived the equation of transfer function, equation for transfer function of a closed loop control system in simple or canonical form. But now, if we have a complicated control system given to us, let's say for example, this is a control system. So now let's say this is the control system, closed loop control system which is given to us. But as you can see, it is a bit more complicated system because it has a feedback path and there is a forward element which is added to this particular summing junction, and there is also a takeoff point over here. So for that we require so now let us start learning the rules of block diagram reduction. Now the first rule is associative law, or simply we can also say that interchanging of summing points or interchanging of summing points. Now when we study these rules, keep this thing in mind. These rules are nothing but mathematical manipulations in a block diagram which are used to simplify the given complicated block diagram into a simple block diagram whose transfer function can be easily derived. So for that matter, we study these rules, and we have here two summing junctions. Now, why this is associative law? Because we can interchange these two summing junctions. So now here you see this is the first summing junction which has the polarity plus or minus. So at the output of this one, this will be R1. So R1, but here the sign is negative. That's why it would be R1 minus R2. So at this stage, at the output of the first summing junction, it would be R1 minus R2. Okay. Then the next summing junction is there. See over here. So R1 minus R2, and here R3 is added. So that signal I have added over here. Now we want to do some manipulation of block diagram for block diagram reduction. So how we can do? We can interchange these two summing points. That this is summing point number 1 and this is summing point number 2. But we have interchanged it now. The second summing point we have put over here, and then in this manner I have interchanged it. So this summing junction comes first now over here. So what would be the output at the first summing junction? It would be R1 plus R3. See, because I have exchanged the summing junctions from the left hand side, and then here the here the first summing junction as it is, which has the signal minus R2 because of the polarity. So the final output will be R1 plus R3 minus R2. So compare both the outputs before manipulation and after manipulation or applying the reduction rule. The output remains the same because R1 minus R2 plus R3 is the same thing is replicated over here. That is R1 plus R3 minus R2. Both the things being the same. That is our ultimate objective when we are doing any mathematical reduction or simplification is that the output at the particular node should not change. Similarly, the feedback signals of the control system should not change. So if we are able to change do certain manipulations in order to simplify and in order to get a transfer function, then our reduction is successful, because the output doesn't change over here, only we have interchanged two summing junctions and the output at this point remains the same. Now supposing when we will solve examples on block diagram reduction, there will be certain cases where interchanging of summing points would be advisable, so you will do it in this fashion. Now the second rule, now for blocks connected in series. Now one more important point related to first rule. So if you have any gain block present over here, let's say something is present over here or some takeoff junction is present over here, then you can't apply this rule. So this rule is applicable only when two summing junctions are directly connected to one another. So now the next rule is for blocks connected in cascade or series. So as you can see, there are three blocks I have connected. This is the input signal, that is R of S. This is the output signal, that is C of S. We are interested in finding the transfer function, which is C of S upon R of S. So here the blocks are directly connected and there is no takeoff point or any summing junction in between these two. So we can apply this rule. Now observe over here. So R of S is the input signal, C of S is the output signal. R of S is directly connected to G1. So what will be the output over here? Output after the first gain block, it would be R of S into G1. What will be the output after the second gain block? R of S into G1 into G2, because this signal will be carried forwarded as it is, and then R of S into G1 will be again multiplied by G2 because it is connected in series. Now similarly this would be the output after the second gain block. After the third gain block, what will be the output? R of S into G1, G2, G3 is equal to C of S. The same thing I can write because it is a cascade connection. So if I want to write that overall transfer function, that is C by R, it will be nothing but G1 into G2 into G3, because these are directly connected. So instead of writing this, I can simplify the block diagram and write a single block, which is the multiplication of the individual transfer function. What is individual transfer function? G1, G2 and G3. So G1, G2, G3, C of S is the output, R of S is the input. So your transfer function becomes G1, G2, G3. So in this manner we have not modified the output also, but we have simplified it. So now for gain blocks connected in parallel, now for this one you can add or subtract these gain blocks if keeping in mind the polarity of the summing junction. Now here and the direction of the signal is also important. So here direction of signal is from the input node to the output node. So the direction of signal is shown over here, and there is a summing junction over here. The summing junction is having a negative polarity as well as positive polarity. Now observe the individual signs. This is G1 minus G2. So that I have written, and R of S will be multiplied as it is common to all these three parallel blocks. So R of S is common and the multiplication term will be G1 minus this particular minus G2. G1 minus G2. And what is the relation between G2 and G3? You have a look at the polarities of the summing junction. They are connected in parallel and positive sign is there. So it would be G2 plus G3. And G1 because G1 minus G2 because their polarity was minus over here. So if you want to write this in simplified form, whenever we have something like this in parallel in a block diagram, we can simply write it by considering its polarity, or by simply adding or subtracting considering the polarity of the summing junction. So this is the how we write it, the simplified version or the reduced version of this. Is G1 minus G2 plus G3 in a block, and to which R of S and C of S. These three lines means after the simplification also the circuit remains equivalent. So this particular circuit is equivalent to this, or this particular block diagram is equivalent to this because the output is same. So now let us study our next rule, which is shifting a summing point behind a block. Now the statement of the rule only makes it clear that what we are going to do over here. So this is nothing but, now this is a arrangement in a control system block diagram. So if you have something like this, a gain block and a summing junction present over here, and what you are interested in doing is, particularly you want to shift this particular summing junction behind this block. That's why I have shown an arrow over here. So this is nothing but shifting a summing junction behind a block. So the equivalent representation for it would be like this. That is this. If you want to move this particular summing junction behind this block, when I move this behind, I will have to multiply uh, by a gain block of 1 by g over here to this summing junction in order to keep the output same. Because I am doing a manipulation over here, I am shifting this particular summing junction behind over here. So that's the reason we need to do some manipulations. Now here only Y signal was present at the summing junction. How I got this 1 by G to be the correct manipulation, that I will do over here. Okay, now here if you observe the output, now at the LHS you see here C is equal to Rg plus Y. Now this is the signal which is applied at the summing junction over here. Now we want to keep the output same even after manipulation. So for that we have multiplied 1 by G block to the summing junction, because we have moved this behind the block. Now how did we get this 1 by G factor? I will show you. So from our original block diagram, which is this one, what is at the output? C is equal to Rg plus Y. This is pretty much clear. Now here, now what do we want? What we are interested in doing? We were interested in moving the summing junction behind. Now for that, when we will move this summing junction behind over here. So we have moved. So there would be some signal x which we need to multiply in order to get our output. No change in the output. So this would be C as it is, our final output. This would be the gain block as it is. But as you can see, I have moved this summing junction behind. So there would be some signal x and input R will be remain as it is. So how will you find this x now? So what is this? Nothing. At the output of summing junction, output is R plus some signal x multiplied by this gain block. So what will be the output? It will be R plus x into G. But as you know from our equation, output equation of our earlier block diagram, because this and this is equivalent, we want to just perform some manipulation for simplification purpose in order to get overall transfer function. So for that, what is C? C is nothing but Rg plus Y. Now look closely over here. This is our equation number 1. This is our equation number 2. This equation number 2 we got because we are doing manipulation of shifting this particular summing point behind this gain block. So from this, both these values represent the output of the block diagram. That is, C is equal to R plus X into G and C is equal to R plus G R into G plus Y. So we can equate it. So Rg plus Y is equal to R plus Rg plus Xg. Now we can compare these two equations. Rg and Rg will be cancelled because they would get cancelled, because both I have compared, both the equations I have compared. So because of that it would get cancelled. So from that only you get the answer as Y is equal to X into G. So from the, and we are interested in computing the value of X because we want this multiplication factor. So how will you get that X? X is nothing but Y by G. And how will you represent Y by G in the equivalent circuit diagram? So this Y is multiplied over here. So when this goes at the top, it would be Y by G and this would be added at the summing junction. So this is how we get the equivalent multiplication factor when we do certain modifications over here. Now the fifth rule, shifting a summing point behind the block, beyond the block. Now we have studied shifting the summing point behind the block. Now what will happen if I shift the summing point beyond the block or after the block? So have a close look over here. So the equivalent reduced block diagram for it would be a gain block, then the summing point junction which we have taken beyond the block means after the block. So I have taken this summing junction which was present over here. For sake of simplification, I had taken it ahead. So for that I need to again multiply the summing junction with a gain block of G, so that the output remains same. Now have a look over here. This is R plus Y, and this whole gain block will be multiplied, and this would be the output at the final stage of our block diagram. Now the modified block diagram or the reduced block diagram after applying this rule will be, now this is the input R, so this would be nothing but RG. So here at this point it would be RG, and here I have added a gain block of G to the signal Y. So it would be nothing but Rg plus, because the polarity of the summing junction, Rg plus Yg. So Rg plus Yg will be the final output. So it can be simply written as C is equal to R plus Y. This whole thing is common multiplied by gain block. So as you can see, after modification also the output remains same. Now how did I come to know that I need to multiply this particular gain block to this signal Y at the summing junction? So for that I will show you the simple thing which we have done. Now the output before modification was C is equal to R plus Y the whole bracket multiplied by the gain block. This is equation number 1. Now what we are interested in doing, we want to move this summing junction beyond the block. So for that we need to multiply a suitable signal X. This X signal is nothing but this particular portion of the final listing. So what will be the output when we are manipulating it? So this X will be as it is. So at this stage the output will be R into G, and it is added with the signal X because summing junction polarity is positive. So final output would be C is equal to Rg plus X. Now these two equations we are having. These two equations are for the same output Y. So let us equate equation number 1 and 2 together. So this is nothing but this G I have multiplied inside, that is C is equal to Rg plus Yg. So this equation number 1 and equation number 2 I have equated. When I equate these two, Rg and Rg will get cancelled, and from that I would get the value of the signal X, which X is nothing but Y into G. So how will I replace this particular X with this one? Because we want the output to remain same. So Y into G meaning only gain block needs to be multiplied with the signal Y to the summing junction. So for that what I have done, I have drawn a gain block over here, applied signal Y to it, and then applied the whole thing to the summing junction. Now based on this manipulation you can see that the output remains same. The output at this point will be R into G plus Y into G. So same thing can be written as R plus Y the whole bracket multiplied by G. So the output remains the same, and I have shown you how to get this particular part also. So even if you forget some rule, you will be able to derive this particular one on this one. Now we are going to study sixth rule, which is shifting a takeoff point behind the block. Now this is the takeoff point, as you can see over here. This is a gain block. This is our input R and output C. That is C of S. C of S output and R of S is the input. Now we want to shift this particular takeoff point. At the takeoff point there is some signal Y present over here, and we want to move this takeoff point behind this gain block. So this is our ultimate objective. So when we do this, we want the output to remain the same at both these points. That is, at the takeoff point the signal should be Y is equal to R into G. Now however we will get Y is equal to R into G, because this input is applied to the gain block. So at the output of this particular gain block we will get R into G, and that is tapped from over here for this takeoff point. So this Y signal which is present at the takeoff point, which is the feedback signal, will be having the same value, that is Y is equal to R into G. And similarly the final output node of the control system will be having the same value, that is C is equal to R into G. Now we want to move this particular takeoff junction behind this gain block. So for that we need to multiply, when we move this takeoff junction behind this block, we need to multiply this with the gain block behind it for the output to remain constant. Same, that is C is equal to R into G, and even after modification, that this takeoff point, even if we take backwards, the output will remain the same, because we have added a gain block behind this in series with this signal, that is y is equal to r into g. It would be, because this is r and this is g, and then at the output also you see here what will be the output. So here it would be this would be c is equal to r into g, because this would be straight line path, and at the takeoff point also y is equal to r into g. So output at both the feedback signals and the final output is preserved. So in this way we shift the takeoff point behind the block. In that case we multiply the takeoff junction with a gain block of say capital G. Now we will shift the takeoff point beyond the block. Now we have studied what will happen if I move the takeoff point behind the block earlier. Now we will study when we will move this takeoff point beyond the block or ahead of the block. So as you can see, the signal which I have tapped from over here, at this takeoff point signal y is present, that is the feedback signal. So here at this point the signal will be, the same input signal will be present because it is behind the block currently. So here y is equal to r, and what would be the final output in the, so final output is c. So for that it would be r into g. Here the feedback signal doesn't play any role, so here it would be c is equal to r into g. Now what we are interested in, we are interested in taking this takeoff point ahead or beyond the block. Now when I move this takeoff point ahead of the block, so it was present earlier over here, I have moved it ahead of the block. In order to make the suitable manipulation, and your feedback signal and output signal should also remain the same, I will need to multiply a block of 1 by g at the takeoff junction. So what is the advantage of multiplying 1 by g over here? You will see. Now at the output of this block, c over here, it would be r into g. So output is as it is, it will remain same, and at the takeoff junction you will see signal y was applied. So that y also we need to be same as the input, that is y is equal to r. So for making this y is equal to r, we will multiply 1 by g. So when we will multiply 1 by g over here, so this signal is present over here, and then this signal, so what will be this? At this takeoff junction it would be rg at this particular point. When you multiply this by, what is the value of y given over here? Y by g, because it is present in series over here, so it would get multiplied. So from this only we get y is equal to r. Y is equal to r over here. So when this and this will get cancelled, then it would be y is equal to r. So for making our feedback signal should remain the same even after manipulation, and your output signal should also remain the same. That is the reason we added 1 by g block over here. So when we move this signal behind, so y will be equal to r, because here r into g will be present, which will be again multiplied by 1 by g. So what is r into g into 1 by g? It is nothing but r, and that is the feedback signal which we are interested in. So that's the reason the manipulation of 1 by g is the correct one over here. Now rule number 8, removal of minor feedback loop. Now observe these two diagrams at the left hand side. So this is known as a minor feedback loop, because it is a simple feedback loop consisting only of one gain block in the forward path and one gain block in the feedback path. And as you can see from the polarities of summing junction, this is plus or minus. So at the feedback point your polarity is minus. That's the reason I have written this block diagram is for negative feedback. Now the equivalent way of representing it using this rule is nothing but, so if you have the feedback path, that is minor feedback path, minor feedback loop like this, which is a negative feedback, then the equivalent block diagram, reduced block diagram representation for this is g upon 1 plus gh. So this is similar to the derivation which we have done earlier, that is derivation of transfer function of a simple closed loop transfer function in a simple closed loop system in its simple or canonical form. So this is the canonical form of a closed loop system. So if you have something like this, you can represent it by a single block having transfer function g upon 1 plus g. And similarly with positive feedback, when this sign at the feedback junction is positive, both the signs are positive at the summing junction or at the feedback node, the same thing will be represented as g upon 1 minus gh. So this whole assembly or this whole minor feedback loop can be represented by a simple block on simplification. So this is rule number 8, which is removal of minor feedback loop, and the derivation for this also we have done, that is derivation of closed loop transfer function in simple or canonical form in my earlier videos. So now for multiple input multiple output, that is MIMO system, we use superposition theorem. Now supposing we have block diagram over here, consider this system as a closed loop system whose block diagram is given, in which 3 inputs are applied and there are 3 outputs, that is multiple input and multiple output. So output corresponding to output C1 corresponds to when R1 is applied and R2 and R3 are 0 and C2 and C3 are suppressed or not considered. So if I want to find the overall transfer function for this particular equation, we need to find superposition theorem. We need to find it using superposition theorem. Now this superposition theorem we studied in our electrical networks course also. In that, if we have multiple sources, we consider each individual source at a time and calculate its output, and at the end we add it. So first we will find C1 by R1. At that time we will equate R2 is equal to R3 is equal to 0 in the block diagram. And as we are interested in only finding the ratio of C1 by R1, we will ignore the effect of C2 and C3 outputs. So that's the reason I have written C2 and C3 suppressed. So C2 and C3 suppressed meaning they are not 0, but they are not considered because they are not point of our interest at that point. So because of output C1 is C1 output appears at the output node because of the input R1. So that's the reason we computed C1 by R1. Similarly, we find C2 by R2, and similarly we find C3 by R3. Now, if we want to find the overall transfer function, we need to add these 3 transfer functions, 3 individual transfer functions. The C1 by R1 is due to input R1, C2 by R2 is due to input R2, and C3 by R3 is due to input R3. And if you want to find the overall transfer function of the multiple input, multiple output system, we need to add these 3 transfer functions in order to get the overall transfer function. Now this particular rule you will be pretty much clear with when we will do examples on block diagram reduction or simplification, in which I will take one example of multiple input multiple output system as well. So at that time it will be clear. Now we will move on to study critical rule number 10. Now why critical rule? Because these rules are little bit unusual and the manipulations are a bit complicated over here. And one more important thing to note, this critical rule number 10 and critical rule number 11 you should use only when typically in a block diagram equation problem you are unable to apply any of the rules, that is from rule number 1 to rule number 9. If you are unable to apply it, then only you have to use these rules. Otherwise, when you should basically avoid using these rules whenever possible. But if in a problem there is no other option or there is no other alternative rather than using these rules, then only you should use these rules. Otherwise, mostly problems are asked based on rule number 1 to rule number 9 only. So the critical rule number 10 over here, that is shifting a takeoff point after a summing point. So whenever we want to shift a takeoff point after a summing junction, so this takeoff point we want to take after a summing junction, so this particular manipulation you have to do. Have a close look at it and copy it down. And when you will do examples on critical rules, so mainly we will not be doing, but just for your information purpose I have listed this rule, because critical rules are not that asked in your paper, but you should know what are the critical rules. So this particular manipulation you are supposed to do when you shift a takeoff point after a summing junction. And the next rule, which is critical rule number 11, that is shifting takeoff point behind this is our takeoff point, we want to shift it behind the summing junction. So for that, this particular manipulation you have to do. Have a close look at it and note these 2 rules down. So if at all problem on critical rules is asked, they will specify you to solve using critical rules. Don't use this rule unless absolutely necessary. Use the rules only from rules number 1 to rule number 9. So if you are not able to do any particular manipulation from rule number 1 to rule number 9, and then only you use these two rules, because these are a bit complicated. But if there is no other option rather than using it, then you have to use this rule. So these are all total 11 rules of block diagram reductions. The problems on block diagram reductions we will do in the next lecture. So that's all for today.